I'm Shannon Martin. Tonight, 3 people are killed after a crash in Milton. Among the dead is a 13-year-old girl. The crash comes as OPP are warning all drivers this long weekend to stay vigilant. And
how long have you been coming here?
Since the 1980s.
We had to make this a pilgrimage, is what I called it. We had to be here.
It's the end of an era for one of Toronto's oldest bars. After nearly 200 years, its last call at the Black Bull Tavern. Plus,
all hands on deck for that day. It'll be the biggest crowd in Niagara Falls.
Counting down to the total solar eclipse, at least one Ontario region declares a state of emergency ahead of expected crowds.
This is CBC Saturday News.
Thanks for joining us. We begin in Milton, where Halton police say a teenage girl and 2 men have died after a crash early this morning. It happened around 3:20 this morning near 6th Line and Derry Road. The collision reconstruction unit was on site for hours after trying to piece together what led to the crash. Halton police declined our request for an interview, but in a press release say a 16-year-old girl from Brampton and a 18-year-old man were traveling together in one vehicle. A 26-year-old man from Milton was in the other. All 3 were pronounced dead at the scene. Again, it's still unclear what led to the crash tonight. Police are hoping anyone with dashcam footage will get in touch. Meantime, the OPP are reminding drivers and passengers to do their part in keeping roads safe this long weekend by buckling up.
Belts remain one of the top 4 contributing factors to fatal crashes in Ontario, and in the last 5 years in Ontario, we've had 296 fatalities attributed solely to seatbelt use. So the OPP takes road safety very seriously, and as a result of that, we are out on your on-ramps, your off-ramps, being visible, looking for seatbelts, looking for those opportunities to educate the public.
OPP also reminding drivers to pay attention on the roads this weekend and drive according to the rules and conditions of the weather as well. It's the last call for one of Toronto's oldest bars. The Black Bull Tavern opened nearly 200 years ago, cherished by many for its sunny patio and longtime staff. Patrick Swadden spent the day as people were raising a glass to its history and toasting all the good memories they've made there.
Question. Do you remember what you were doing in the year 1833? Perhaps you were messaging some friends using Morse code? No, you weren't. Not even Morse code was invented yet when the Black Bull Tavern opened its doors to Toronto nearly 2 centuries ago. Sitting at 298 Queen West, the local watering hole is a monument to longevity. How long have you been coming here?
Since the 1980s.
It's been a grand time, and actually had to make this a pilgrimage, is what I called it. We had to be here.
And for good friends Alan Roy and Jeff Good, it's a place they've made countless memories over the years.
It's a chance to catch up in a space that's comfortable, and it welcomes everyone. There's no sense of barrier, and I love that too.
The owners say it once served pints to vibrant punk rockers and biker gangs.
People come in from the States, and their parents tell them to come to the Black Bull when they're visiting here because their parents visited here when they were kids. So
the owner's decision to move on comes after Bobby Taylor, a Canadian football legend who purchased the bar in 1975, died last year. Asked what patrons will miss most, many say the staff, like bartender Sheldon Chow, who's worked here for over 40 years.
I sit here and Sheldon brings it to me.
While some lament the loss of long-standing independent establishments.
you know, it was a great hangout. Now it's mostly commercial.
The reason that we come downtown is for places like this, and now that they're building up and out, we don't have places like this anymore.
The local BIA hoping that as the Black Bull meets its Matador, the neighborhood preserves its iconic character.
This is an amazing premium patio, so I hope whoever moves into it treats it really well and knows that it's one of the best in the city.
While ownership is changing hands, a heritage property designation means it won't be torn down to make condos.
That building is so iconic. It has a lot of architecture from, centuries ago that the city has put a mandate to make sure that it's preserved.
And while the building lives on, an historic chapter comes to a close. Your last chance to grab a pint or some fish and chips at the Black Bull Tavern will be this Wednesday, April 3rd. Patrick Swadden, CBC News, Toronto.
Some people spending this long weekend giving back to those in need. The number of people relying on food banks continues to dramatically increase. Anam Khan takes us to the Daily Bread Food Bank, where advocates are demanding more support from government.
A busy Easter for one of the largest food banks in Canada.
In February, we surpassed a milestone we never thought was possible.
Neil Hetherington says Daily Bread Food Bank saw more than 300,000 clients last month, nearly double the number compared to the same period last year. The food bank's annual Who's Hungry report shows the drastic jump. This is 1995, and right over here, the highest is 2023.
What's new is that there are individuals who have an income, who are working, who are cobbling together 2 or 3 part-time jobs, and they still can't make it.
On Saturday, 200 volunteers sorted thousands of pounds of food and personal items ready to be distributed to families in need across the city. There's pasta, there's canned food and everything, and then the boxes are right over here. You can see the peanut butter, personal care, pet supplies, beans, and all the items are put into these boxes right over here. Hetherington says food banks are only a Band-Aid solution to greater problems like affordable housing. Mayor Olivia Chow and Premier Doug Ford visited the food bank Saturday and privately spoke with Hetherington about the crisis. While Ford refused to take questions, Chow spoke about a number of changes coming, which will hopefully help tackle hunger.
Because of new deal with the province, in our budget, we are building more affordable housing, we're protecting tenants, we are bringing the city back on track. We are not giving anyone a fair increase in TTC. But other levels of government have a role to play also.
Hetherington hopes the federal government will increase the Canada Disability benefit in their budget next month, so clients on disability, like Sue Ellen Patchison, who make up a quarter of the clientele of the food banks, can be better off.
We have $300 each month that we can spend on groceries. And beyond that, Daily Bread helps us out.
Patchison also has 2 adult children on disability. She says big grocery chains are beyond reach.
And it's time for our government to step up and do something about it. They have a responsibility here.
In February, the feds announced a so-called crackdown on corporate greed to make groceries more affordable. But prices continue to remain high. Anam Khan, CBC News, Toronto.
Here's a sign of the season. Toronto City golf courses are swinging into action.
This is the earliest we were open. Mother Nature cooperated with us, and it was a mild winter. And also a testament to my city staff and the greenskeepers here that they were able to get the golf courses ready to open in March.
You heard them. This is the earliest they've been ready to go. All 5 of the city's courses officially opening today. It's coming off another record. He says last year, 240,000 rounds of golf were played. That's the most ever. That was all thanks to Mother Nature, offering up some pretty perfect weather conditions last summer. Sophia, it's so popular, they're reminding people to book early, up to a week in advance, just to get a spot.
Yeah, the weather gods have smiled on all the golfers. It's been an early start to tick season and allergy season. A lot of golfers in my house looking forward to this early start as well. We had golfing weather in February during March break, but over the next few days it is going to be, well, seasonably chilly for any of you heading out onto the greens. We are talking about even needing snow tires still as a messy, raw, winter-feeling system comes to the Great Lakes Basin midweek for many of you, along with heavy rain and, yes, even the potential of accumulating snowfall. But first, happy Easter to everybody. Let's talk about this fair and really fantastically calm Easter weekend before all the active weather begins. Right now, as we speak, some showers moving through the southwestern portion of the province, Hamilton, Kitchener area, and some light flurries for those of you into the Nickel Belt region. That clears into a clear but chilly Easter morning for all of you little bunnies out hunting for the eggs. Dress warm. You will need the hats. You will need the coats And no chocolate will be melting into your afternoon period as well. Plenty of sunshine, fair conditions, seasonal conditions right across the board for your Easter Sunday. And then coming up in the long range, we'll talk about this next system that begins brewing with rain on Tuesday and a changeover to snow and a wintry mix for your Wednesday morning commute, Shannon. It will be a messy one. It will remind us a little bit of winter's Johnny come lately to the party this year. For winter at the beginning of spring. Yeah, go figure. Mother Nature's got a sense of humor.
Thanks, Sophia. The Niagara region is taking on big preparations ahead of the total solar eclipse on April 8th, including declaring a state of emergency. The mayor of Niagara Falls says the call was made by the regional chair.
He made a declaration unilaterally and then let us know after the fact. And I understand it's out of an abundance of caution, A, and B, they want to be able to have access to funds provincially and federally if it's necessary. Obviously, we're going to bring in a lot of extra police and fire and ambulance and bylaw people, and there'll be a lot of extra people, all hands on deck for that day. It'll be the biggest crowd in Niagara Falls ever in the history of the city.
As you heard him say, the state of emergency sets up additional measures for a day that could see some major traffic jams, heavier demands on emergency services, and strains on cell phone networks. The city is in the path of totality, where the moon will entirely block the sun's rays for a few minutes. The mayor has said he expects the most visitors the city has ever seen in a single day. Well, a group of Oakville High School students realized the path of the total eclipse follows another remarkable journey, the migration of monarch butterflies. That led the friends to a special project, all for a good cause.
My dad loves monarch butterflies, so he plants a lot of milkweed there, so they're always around at my cottage. It's like, instead of just like talking that you're gonna do something, like we've actually like turned the talk into actually being able to do something. So making a real impact on the monarch butterflies while being able, like educating people about it, while being able to like have something that's really cool to, for people to experience.
When I tell like my friends about it, they did not know that they were endangered species, because like I kind of just found out about that too.
So we did some research, and coincidentally, the monarch butterfly migration path from Mexico to the United States to Canada is the exact same path this year of this solar eclipse.
From there, the ideas kept fluttering. Soon the friends were designing special solar eclipse glasses, then selling them around Oakville and beyond to Conception Bay, Newfoundland, Texas. Even the Prime Minister picked up a pair.
The hope for our project is to like raise enough or as much money as we can so we can help the monarch butterflies and like just like get people maybe to plant milkweed or like giving it to different like charities or nonprofit organizations will like just like help them and like make the population grow and like hopefully change their endangered status.
They say 100% of their net proceeds will go to a foundation they've started. The goal, helping people or organizations working to preserve monarch butterflies.
It's a symbol of resilience and beauty for urban environments, but from 1 billion species back in the 90s, its population has dropped significantly. It's because of the habitat loss and the lack of the critical plant species such as milkweeds. So we were super excited to see that they picked a cause that is really dear to our hearts. And it's amazing to see that capacity building and in younger generations.
Beyond fundraising, the teens also find themselves educating people about the eclipse.
A lot of people didn't know about the total solar eclipse, so we'd want them to be prepared and not to like damage their eyes, because we've had like a lot of questions about it and like why can't we use like normal sunglasses.
This type of solar eclipse is only going to happen here in another 375 years, so it's like once in a lifetime. We don't want people to like not know about it and then like not be able to see it.
So having a project with 5 girls that are interested in science, interested in business, that's can make all of us parents proud. Where they give back, this project gave back at the local level, but it's also going to give back at the international level. And it's just begun, right? Right now, they're packing glasses and, taking orders. But in the future, when they get to sit down and actually take that money that they've generated and start directing it to whether it's a young girl that wants to have a pollinator garden in Ohio, or whether it's, the national park in Point Pile. It's going to be a real sort of growing experience for them as well.
You probably caught this story this week. 4 Ontario school boards are suing social media platforms for billions of dollars, they say, over the impact social media has on students. It's believed to be the first suit of its kind in Canada. The boards include the Toronto District School Board and the Ottawa-Carleton District School Board. They're taking aim at TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram for $4.5 billion, alleging the apps are designed in ways that can be harmful to young, developing brains. One expert told CBC News young people are especially susceptible to the volume of content.
When they're going on something like social media platforms, they're seeing others liking their photos, they're commenting on other photos, they're seeing these comments, and this can cause a brief release of these neurochemicals like dopamine, which is important for frontal lobe function. And they are, instead of just getting a couple of these as you would throughout the day, they're getting this really constantly. And particularly for young children and adolescents, they don't really have the necessary brain machinery to be able to manage constant rewards.
She says both sleep and exercise, which are also essential for healthy brain development, go down as screen time goes up. Without regulation from social media companies, some experts say it's up to parents to learn the recommended guidelines and make sure their children follow them.
I think to tell kids to stay off it, it's not going to work, right? Abstinence-based kind of things don't ever usually work. Moving your phone somewhere away, like just being away from your phone, putting it upstairs or downstairs for moments of time when you're not there, I think is really helpful, because maybe that's a way to get over that feeling of like, I got to be checking, I got to be looking, I got to be on. And then to reflect on what that feels like what does it feel like that for the last 5 hours, your phone was in your bag in the car, or your phone was somewhere else? How to kind of reflect on those habits.
Meta did not respond to our request for comment. Snapchat said in a statement that its platform was designed to be different from traditional social media without the typical likes or public comments. TikTok responded to CBC News saying it has safeguards such as parental controls and screen time limits for users under 18. The Deputy Prime Minister making a stop in Toronto, revealing new details tonight on the federal government's universal pharmacare plan. Ithel Musa has more on what you need to know.
In the upcoming federal budget, we will be delivering free contraceptives.
Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland says the federal government's universal pharmacare plan will give more than 9 million Canadian women much-needed access to contraceptives and greater control over their bodies. This expert agrees.
Access to contraception is not only a reproductive right, but also a fundamental aspect of public health and equity. The cost of contraception should never be a factor in decision-making.
A range of diabetes medications will also be made more affordable.
We're going to go step by step. We've decided to start with contraceptives and diabetes medicine because we think those are great places to support women, support young women, support them to have real control over their lives and their bodies. And because we know that diabetes is a condition that really afflicts a lot of Canadians.
Freeland says the federal government will work with provinces and territories to increase spending on public drug benefit programs to provide universal, single-payer coverage for these medications. Ithel Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
About 70 Canadian Forces members have been sent to Jamaica to train soldiers that will be serving in a UN-authorized mission to Haiti. The announcement comes with Haiti still in the grip of armed gangs and mired in a stalemate over a council to succeed the president. The Canadian troops will train force members from Jamaica, Belize, and the Bahamas in core peacekeeping skills and combat first aid. The initial session will last a month. How cool is this? Kids were excited to take part in a massive Easter egg drop in Windsor today. The free event was put on by a local credit union and the town of LaSalle earlier this morning. As you saw there, a helicopter was used to drop the toy Easter eggs for kids to collect, and then they could exchange them for some Easter treats. You know, the kids would just be so excited by that. Excited.
Oh. So impressive. Way to one-up the Easter Bunny in the town of Windsor. That is fantastic. You'll need your coats and your hats if you want to one-up the Easter Bunny for your Sunday morning forecast. You just feel like Easter is that time of rejuvenation, right? The warmer weather comes. There's endless fun activities just like you saw there. This upcoming work week, though, may prove a bit of a surprise. Sunday morning, though, around the freezing mark across the region. It is dry, though. Fair conditions, seasonal for your Sunday afternoon, with plenty of sunshine for all the little bunnies and chicks that are hopping to it. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, though, because Mother Nature may have something else up her sleeve. Monday is fair as well, and then we're talking about this next big system to barrel through the region. High confidence that it will be a messy, raw-feeling, winter weather-like system. High confidence as well in that raw, gusty east wind that will be blowing around all this precipitation, but low confidence in what kind of precipitation you will get or where it will come. This will be highly elevation dependent. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday story. Tuesday afternoon and evening, the rain pushes through. Tuesday overnight, that heavy rain comes in along with that changeover to wet snow. It'll be wet, slick, and slippery snow that will be around for the Wednesday morning commute, along with really gusty winds as all of this snow pushes over to the Ottawa Valley area and it sticks around from Bancroft to Ottawa into your Thursday. Yes, just when you thought it was safe to take the snow tires off, some of you, yes, will have accumulating and shoveling snow north and west of the city and again in that eastern Ontario region. We have that raw, gusty wind over 80 kilometers an hour for your Wednesday morning. That is going to feel very raw, but it'll keep any of the snowfall amounts quite down for those of you in the GTA. So not a major snowstorm for those of you in Toronto, but another active weather stretch, 30 to 60 millimeters of rain possible as well, Shannon. But let's stay with the positive note that this will be a really fair, fantastic Easter weekend before all of the active weather comes in.
Okay, we'll enjoy Sunday and Monday before we watch out for our poor tulips. Thanks, Sophia. That's our show for tonight. We'll